Welcome once again to another edition of Quoth Raven with Sprite Raven. As you may know, we are here at Level TV 16 because even though sometimes reviews we do are for represent some stuff that's for kids, it's intended for adults and to educate parents, teachers, librarians, aunts, uncles, etc. in pursuit of protecting the youth. So, you also sometimes have cuss words. But anyway, we had TV 16 and up. Don't have time to show the graphic. We're kind of got screwed up today because of some family health issues. For those of you who don't know, my father got respiratory viral infection and was in the hospital last night. So that's why I'm late today. So normally when we do our what did you get this week, I just tell you what I got and I don't do reviews. But because of what things are happening, I'm doing reviews today. So let's get to it. But because of what things are happening, I'm doing reviews today. If this silly computer will let me. All right, here we go. Our first book of the day is Batman The Adventures Continue, Season number 2, number 3 for $3.99. Publisher, DC Comics. Writers, Alan Burnett and Paul Dini. Artist, Rick Burkett. Colorist, Monica Cabina. Letterer is Josh Reed with cover art by Stephanie Pepper. The genre is superhero action adventure. It was released yesterday, August 11th, 2021. Pop Culture says hello. Or, hey, Raven. Hey, it's good to see you again. Haven't seen you in a while. Sorry that I was late today. What it's about. Batgirl goes on a solo mission tracking the jazz man Jimmy Keys, who wounded and hospitalized her father, Commissioner Gordon, against Batman's better judgment. Batman thinks she's too close to the matter and will seek out vengeance instead of justice. It turns out that the Huntress wants Keys dead, and the two women fight over Keys and then team up against Keys' men when they try to rescue him. It turns out that Keys has information on Black Mask's mob operations, and Batman figures this out, and he's hiding it on his body in a microchip embedded in his skin during an interrogation. Keys is taken to jail where he fears Black Mask will send minions to kill him for his betrayal to the mob, and then the final plot twist comes, and I won't spoil it here. What I think? Well, if only the regular Batman detective issues were written as well. That's basically it. I enjoyed the issue thoroughly. Burkett has a couple of wonky panels here and there in the book, in my opinion, but it's a very solid issue overall. I like Stephanie Pepper's cover art, nice color palette to it, just really well done. I recommend it for ages 13 and up, and I give it 4 out of 5 stars. Here's some of the artwork. They're at a train station. Batgirl and Huntress are fighting Keys' minions. In these scenes, as you can see, Batgirl rescues Huntress from getting killed. So she explains what the situation is. And there's that. Our next book is Campisi, The Dragon Incident, $4.99 from publisher Aftershock Comics. The writer is James Patrick. The artist is Marco Licati. The cover is by Fran Galan. And the lettering is by Rachel Deering. The genre is postmodern fantasy, and it was released yesterday, August 11th, 2021. What it's about. Sonny Campisi is a small-time fixer for the mob-controlled neighborhood of Green Village. If you don't pay your gambling debt, he'll come and collect. If you get a little rough with one of the girls, he gets a little rough with you. But when a dragon flies into town and Sonny is the one, not the only one, but the one tasked with getting rid of it, It's a problem unlike anything he's ever faced before, and a chain of events begins that will affect everyone who lives in that neighborhood, especially Sonny himself. What I think is it's a very nice start to the series. Patrick has hit all his marks, setting up the plot, giving us all enough reason to like the lead character Sonny, to also understand why this dragon has shown up and the dragon's motivations. I'm only hoping that Patrick takes the story where I'm envisioning it should go. But I don't want to speculate or say what that is because I don't want to potentially spoil the story, nor do I want to be too disappointed if Patrick doesn't go where I think it should go. So I won't say anything about that. Maybe I'll talk about it in the future after the series is over and explain why I would have done it differently if Patrick doesn't do what I think he's going to do. The art by Locati is solid as well. It's recommended for ages 16 and up. There's some cussing. There's some, it's not for kids. It's 3.5 stars. And here's some of the artwork for that. This is the dragon flying overhead over the they call it Green Village, but it's part of the city. And there's Sonny with his baseball bat. Dragon just flew overhead of him and 2 teenagers that are on the street that he's talking to. And after the dragon passes through their stuff, through the whole town, or through the whole area rather, and then nestles in a construction site zone, he tells the kids to do some favors for him and make sure that some of the older people in the neighborhood don't do anything foolish, or don't let the dogs out where the dragon might go after them and eat the dog, or make sure that this old man who has a heart condition is okay and not freaking out from seeing the dragon. Stuff like that. Then 2 other mobsters that are like the coolers, I guess. Sonny's a fixer. These guys are the ones above him. They go and kill a restaurateur who didn't pay his taxes to the mob because he needed some equipment to take care of things, and he planned on paying it all back after this cookout event that was going on. And Sonny had explained this to the boss, but the boss doesn't care. And so the dragon has magical vision, and he sees this event take place, and he realizes that the guy who is one of these 2 mobsters is actually the descendant of an ancient medieval clan that killed his entire kind, and that's why he's there, is to get vengeance. Pop Culture says, this is one series I have yet to pick up, but you just talked me into. well, sorry. Like, at least it's the first issue. Hopefully you can get it real quick. Our next book is CANTO LIONHEARTED number 2 by publisher IDW, $3.99. Writer is David Booher. Artist is Drew Zucker with colors by Vittorio Estone. The lettering is by And World Design. Genre is fantasy. It was released yesterday, August 11th, 2021. The Clockwork Knight, Canto, and his old friend, the warrior Alara, are in search of allies in their coming war against the Shrouded Man. Possibly the greatest allies they could hope for are Canto's former slavers, but before they can even attempt to build bridges and combine their efforts, those slavers must be found. And only one person knows where they might be, and they're on the other side of a kraken. Now, I don't have text. I don't know if I have text on this or not. No, I don't. Oh, you meant Batman? Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Batman's another one that you should probably be getting. Let me see here. We're going to see if, real quick, if I've got some graphics, because the graphics got screwed up. Okay, I do. As per usual with Canto, this is an exceptionally well done series. bringing back the Kraken from past storyline and the history of what Canto knows and where to get the information from the Kraken against the Shrouded Man. It's all very well set up. He's writing on all cylinders with Booher is the writer. Artistically, Drew Zucker is improving with each passing issue, and it is nice to see the artistic growth of the artist as they work on the story, as it does lend a subliminal representation to Canto's growth as a character as well. Recommended for ages 10 and up, it is a 4.5 series. Well, not by no graphics, so it's no graphics for the artwork inside, but here's some of the artwork inside. Mm-hmm. They're up against the Kraken, and Alora gets grabbed by the tentacles, and he's like trying to run. You can see how small Canto is compared to the size of this Kraken. It's hilarious. Yeah, I'm coming. You know, I'll get there before you get crushed. I promise. To give you a little more idea of the scope of the size of the Kraken, he's underneath a sheet of ice, and you can see how small they are, and he's like asleep under the ice. He crashes up through the ice. That was a page before that. They get through the Kraken, and they get to this area where they need to get information on where to find the people that are looking for. Mm-hmm. And they meet a person who's not who they expect to find. He's kind of like this hoarder person, and he's like, well, I don't want paper. I only want metal stuff. So you can go get the scrolls or whatever it is you're looking for to find who you're looking for. But it's a pretty cool issue. But then Canto usually is. Okay, moving on. Oh, wow, I did have more graphics on this. I didn't realize I had them there. They didn't show up earlier. Okay. That's basically what I just showed you. Here's one more page. They get the paperwork they need, and they're walking out, and there's that guy that says, you didn't take anything else with those scrolls, did you? You didn't steal any of my treasure, right? And then they realize that they have to go to a certain place, and she can't take her dragon with her. So the dragon hands her her sword, and they move on together, Alora and Canto. All right, next book, Clans of BELARI #2, $4.99. Publisher Aftershock Comics. The writers are Peter and Rob Blackie. Artist is Daniel Main. Color is Carlos Lopez. Letterer is Taylor Esposito. Genre is science fiction. Released yesterday, August 11th, 2021. And what it's about. In this issue, we learn how and why the clans were formed in kind of a flashback sequence. Taya, that's the co-lead of the story, learns the truth about her life, and that Gummy, the other co-lead, isn't her biological father, and as such, demands that he help her get set up to be a pilot like she wants to be, because she finds out that he actually was a pilot instead of a dock loader that she thought they always were, because she forgot when she was a little child what was going on, I guess. But anyway, it's kind of a little bit weird that she, but it doesn't matter. From that point, they cut to a meeting with the clan chieftains of BELARI, that's the star system, as they argue over the political and economical status of the star system, and their station steward tries to blackmail them into a seat at their table, claiming that he can sabotage the entire infrastructure. Cut back to Gummy and Taya, and Gummy is now trying to bribe a means to get Taya trained as a pilot. But will it work? Or will the steward's new crackdown on such activities get them both caught and thus killed? My thoughts are, this issue's plot reveal for Taya is just rehashing the events of the past issue for those readers who missed issue #1. But for those of us who did read issue number 1, it's all unnecessary info dump that takes up way too much of the issue. I feel like this reveal probably should have waited for another issue or two, but then again, I understand the pacing the writers have put down here. Not knowing where they're going moving forward, it is a straightforward means to relay the earlier story enough to keep new readers aware of events, I guess. But given that the rest of the story is largely talking heads between the chieftains and the space station steward, it's all talking heads conversation, and there's not a whole hell of a lot going on in this issue as a result. It makes the book a wee bit lackluster in my opinion. It's recommended for ages 16 and up. It is a 3 out of 5 stars. So, the father or Gummy is explaining all this stuff that would happened 100 generations earlier of how the clan system began. And so now she's confronting him about what's going on. And so like I say, she confronts him and makes him more or less try to get her pushed up to be a pilot because that's what she wants to be. And then this is a cut back to the conversations. And you can see this is, kind of dull in terms of, it's just all talking heads back and forth. It's not, there's no real action going on. So it can be a little bit dull as a result for the story. But, it is what it is. The art's nice for what it is. There's nothing wrong with the story. It's just that, move it along rather than retell what you've already told. Our next title rather, is Deep Beyond, number 7 of 12 issues. Is $3.99. The publisher is Image Comics. Writers are Mirka Andolfo and David Goy. The artist is Andrea Baccardo. Colors by Barbara Nocenzo. Couldn't find any credits for a letterer. A genre science fiction, released August 11th, 2021. What this one's about, this is a lot of backstory on the characters that are revealed in this issue. We learn about Hermes' history. For those of you who don't remember the backstory of what's going on here, Hermes was a 1950s scientist, intellectual who got put into this program and now went to the future and came back. So we see a little bit more of his history and how he came around to being part of the program and what his plans are. We then learn why the aliens are doing the mining work on their home world, and as well as trying to figure out how to get to our world. They're literally mining for the memories of their race, which I'd like to see how that's going to work out. And we learn from Paul, the black guy on the cover, a little bit more about his history with Pamela, which was his ex-wife, and Jolene, Pam's twin sister. That's the one with the sword, female in the front with the red hair. And Jolene rather, reveals that she's a 3-year-old daughter who she also named Pamela after her sister, and she's desperate to try to get back home to Earth so she can get back to her daughter. For those who don't remember, as they switch back and forth between the planets, the time differential is ridiculous. So even if she gets back to Earth, her daughter might be grown up or even an old woman or even dead already due to age. Lastly, there is a reveal at the end of the story where a member of the cast is murdered. I'm not going to give any spoilers as to who gets murdered or why or by who they get murdered. For what amounts to being basically another conversation or info dump issue, this story isn't bad. I just wish, again, that there was more action in the comic. There's a nice reveal at the end of the issue, but as is common with most mid-arc issues, there's just not a whole lot going on in this issue. That having been said, there is a lot of interesting and engaging backstory to be read, which is a plus given how dull info dump stories usually are. Recommended for ages 16 and up. It is a 4 out of 5 stars. That is how good the backstory actually is. But again, visually, this is what you get. A lot of people walking and talking, sitting down and talking, and visually, that's just not very exciting. But, if you just, read the story for the story is okay. And there's the last bit of the artwork. This is where she reveals that she's got a daughter back home on Earth, and she needs help, and that's what Paul's gonna do for her. And then this is Hermes, and this is the one person that you saw earlier briefly. I'll show you again. The one right there, same person here. They're having a confrontation at the end of the issue. And who knows who's going to live or die here. Because one of them is going to live or die, but I'm not going to tell you who. Our next book is Eve, number 4 out of 5. It's $3.99 from Boom Studios. Writer Victor Laval. Artist Zhou-Min Yang. Colorist Brittany Pierre, with cover art by Ariel Andino and Pierluigi Castellino with colors. There's a second cover as well. Let me see if I can find that real quick. The second cover is by John Boy Myers with Michaela Dawn as the colorist. The genre is dystopian SF, released yesterday, August 11th, 2021. Eve learns that the older version of herself, that's the one on the right, the older version, the younger version is the one on the left, and she herself are clones, and that Wexler, the robot teddy bear person that was out in previous issues, has killed all the other versions of them and repeated the process with each one of them. There was a total of 6 clones. The older Eve was able to get away from Wexler, but she's near the end of her time, nearing puberty and triggering her zombie self from that virus that they're trying to stop. So the old Eve, the new Eve is sent underwater to the vault that they've been trying to get to the cure. And Wexler and older Eve maybe have their last time together, whether it's a conversation or a confrontation, we don't know. But this new Eve is humanity's last hope. This is the other cover by John Boy Myers. Story-wise, it's okay. They do a good job of explaining what they were trying to explain that I had questions about last issue. They do resolve them pretty well. Interior art. Again, this is kind of a talky issue again, because older Eve is explaining to newer Eve what's going on. Pop Culture says he likes that second cover. Yeah, I've been getting the regular cover, the main cover consistently, but I thought this one was worth getting visually to share as well. Most of the other alternate covers didn't really impress me that much, but this one was pretty decent. Of course, this is Wexler as the robot teddy bear when he's nice and fluffy, shall we say. What he actually looks like in the actual comic is pretty rough. Let me see if I can get there. Yeah, they don't really show him very well in this one, but this is the page he's on at the very end of the story, and you can kind of tell he's all tore up and messed up. But if you've been following the story, you know why he looks like that. He transferred more into his robot killer mode phase at that point, and he's been hunting down the younger Eve to kill her, but so she can't get to the vault because basically he believes that there's no hope for humanity anyway, even though he's programmed to be her guardian. So it's like this weird juxtaposition of the character. But overall, I don't know here. I didn't really rate this one this week. I didn't have time. I would say it's probably about 3.5 to a 4 for this one. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next book. And that is The Polar Paradox, number 1 and 2. Cover number 1 is on the left. Cover number 2 is on the right. As you see, it makes a joint image blended. I'm not sure why the publisher, Frank Martin, didn't put number 1 or number 2 on the front covers or on the back covers or anywhere, but he didn't. Anyway, publisher writer is Frank Martin. The artist is Antonio Mastria. The genre is science fiction. Number 1 was released originally in 2020, and number 2 came out a little like last week. I got it through Kickstarter. And what it's about, a trio of specialized emergency divers set out to rescue a scientific expedition beneath Antarctica. They discover an underwater world unlike anything they could have possibly expected, teeming with sea life that no one would have thought possible in that region of the world. Unfortunately, their mini-sub is attacked and destroyed by a giant electric squid, and one of their party is killed, but the other 2 rescuers find a chamber that leads them to the science team, only to learn that one of the science team has been murdered. One of the members of the science team is basically insane and holding a weapon on the other remaining scientist. The rescuers try to track the crazed madman down, but ultimately he shoots off his rifle, which sets off a cave-in. Only one rescuer and the last remaining scientist escape. The duo find another chamber path to take, and when they get to the surface, they try to call to get picked up, only to learn that instead of being in Antarctica at the South Pole, they somehow are now up at the North Pole. And that's kind of where they leave it. I thought it was a very interesting concept. I feel like the characterization is a little bit too light. You really don't get to know who any of the characters are. You only get like their first names and not much else. The plot and pacing are strong, but there are places in the story where I'm questioning things, like at the end where the survivor service and try to contact their associates, only to find that they're the opposite of the planet. It seems to me that they shouldn't have been able to make radio contact with the people down in the South Pole, down in Antarctica. If they're all the way up at the North Pole, I don't think the radio signal would carry that far. But, that's just my understanding of how that stuff works. I could be wrong. I would have thought that the survivors would have had to be found by a third party who happened to be up, in that area, up in the North Pole area. I also wondered about when the mini sub gets destroyed, how the divers would survive leaving the sub into the depths of the ocean directly, because it seems to me that the water pressure would have done them in immediately, transferring from the stable pressure inside the sub to outside water at like thousands and thousands of feet of depth. But, what do I know? It's just little science things that make me go, It kind of distracted me from the story a little bit. Antonio Mastria's art is very nice. I enjoyed his sea life illustration work a lot in the first issue. And the storytelling that they have is solid throughout and fairly well executed. Overall, it's a slightly above average comic that had potential to be much more. That doesn't make the books or story a failed attempt by any means. Like I said, there's little quirks in it that made me scratch my head a little bit. I do wish that the publisher had a real publisher picked it up instead of having Martin go through Kickstarter. I think he could have used a little bit of an editor, and I think there should have been several groups who would have been a good potential fit for the book. I recommend it for ages 13 up. I give it 3 out of 5 stars. And it's going to refresh. There we go. Whoops. I don't know why I did that. Let me go back here. Here we go. Maybe. And this is artwork by Antonio Mastria. Coloring is nice. He does the coloring too, by the way. He's line art and color art. This is where the rescuers have come to the boat that has requested assistance to find the divers. And the guy who runs the boat is like, well, thank you for helping me out, and help me get to these guys. And he goes, I assume you're here to rescue my team. We're going to try. It's called rescue attempt for a reason. It's kind of like a Starkey comeback, but that's that character. He's a little bit of a jackass, but here's the underwater aquatics. Like I said, there's several tens of thousands of feet beneath the ocean at this point, and here's all this teeming, glowing, like I'm trying to think. Pacific Islands, type, underwater stuff going on here with fish and sharks and manta rays and all kinds of stuff here. And it's just, and it's not necessarily naturalistic. There's an alien component to these. You can tell that he's done good work at looking at aquatic biology, but there's little nuances that don't quite work with the natural. That kind of gives it an alien thing, and it makes you wonder if they're connecting to an alien undersea world here. And then the ship gets attacked, and there's like this giant glowing purple, and then it switches to this electrified bright red squid that just completely wrecks their sub. And then as you can see, they say, okay, we get your suits on, and they get their suits on, which helps, of course, with the water levels of compression and stuff. And then they hit the water air ballast out of the bottom of the sub, and they try to escape. This is one of the 3 divers gets killed in that escape attempt, and 2 of them get through the chambers, and then they get to this inside chamber, very well colored, very well painted. And this is where the nut job scientist attacks her and breaks her face helmet, which really should have killed her, but it doesn't. I don't know why it doesn't, because the shot of the glass right in the face and the eye and stuff should have, ended her. But it didn't. Just left a few cuts in her face. You hit someone in the face with the butt of a gun and hard enough to smash a protective plate that's able to handle thousands of feet of pressure. Go figure. But anyway, he's standing there with his gun over all of them, and you can see this writing on the back on the walls of the cave. And it's all these different languages from all throughout humankind, human race time. And so he's like, no, we can't leave here. We've got to figure out how this is existing. We can't just leave, because if we leave, we'll probably never find it again. Just a second. a fur monster wants to make an appearance, and he's biting me. So, do I know if the polar paradox is going to continue with future issues? It has an open ending so that it could, but the writer did not explicitly state that it would. Here's the monster. I don't like getting bit. So I don't know what his problem is. It's only 5 o'clock. It's not dinner time. But yeah. Hey, you wanted it. Yeah, you wanted the show. You wanted to be there. Ready to leave? All right. But yeah, the only thing is it costs $15 for those 2 issues. And that's kind of why I was saying I wish that it was picked up by a traditional publisher. It's good enough to be picked up by a traditional publisher, and it wouldn't cost so much as a result. As far as that is concerned. So I'm kind of hoping that if it does continue, that Martin shops it around a little bit to Dark Horse or Boom or Oni or somebody, because I think somebody should see this and figure out that it's actually a pretty good series. It could warrant and justify being published for the mass market, not just the crowdfund scene. I think that is, in fact, yep, it is. All right. So that is everything I was able to get reviewed. For those of you who don't know, my father, like I said earlier in the episode, he got sick, and I was pretty much at the hospital yesterday from like 4 until 11 o'clock or so. Maybe 10 o'clock. I don't know, but it was a long time. And that meant I didn't get to read all the books I had planned on reading. And usually what I normally do is have these books that I bought yesterday reviewed on Monday. But because of circumstances, I decided I'd go ahead and review them today. But Monday we will get to the issues I didn't get to read, which are the Heavy Metal 308 and the ATTABOY graphic novel by Tony McMillan. And I'll try and add some other stuff as well. In the meantime, at 9 o'clock this evening, we do have another edition of our show. And I don't know why it's not there. Did I screw it up? No. Okay. But anyway, my guest is Ben Perkins, and we'll be talking about his Kickstarter campaign for his book Heavy, and that will be at 9 o'clock tonight here on YouTube. And then tomorrow I'll be doing Friday night TV night discussion. I'll be talking about Jean-Luc Picard Season 1, Star Trek Picard Season 1 DVD set. And then this weekend on Saturday, I will be I'm trying to find the darn videos, and it's not here. As I said, my computer's got all screwed up today. Let's see. But no, it's not there. Let me see on Monday. Ah, yes. There it is. Monday, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., I am going to be at Scratch and Spin Music, Comics, and Videos and other stuff pop culture store. That is located on 12th Street in West Columbia, across from the Zesto restaurant in the historic Triangle City section of West Columbia. And they're having a store-wide mega sale, 50% off. And then Mike Hoffman, Unlovely Frankenstein, Kristen Keeley, Clay Patterson, myself, and Justin Epps will be the guests. That you can get artwork and books signed and sketches and stuff. And they're going to, of course, give away free comics. You get three free comics per customer, and then whatever else you want to buy, 50% off. So that will be Saturday, starting at 10, goes to 2. So I will see you guys this evening at 9 p.m. with Ben Perkins. In the meantime, come on, silly computer. Here we go. I presume pop culture means the convention, or the convention, the free comic book day. We'll see how crazy it gets. This is the first one we've done since COVID started, so who knows? I mean, I should tell everyone, wear your face mask; it's required. We weren't going to do that, but then the Delta variant came out, and there's just going to be such a turnout expected that that is the store policy for anybody who's going, just so you know. And again, it's going to be pretty busy if nothing else. So anyway, if you want to contact me on social media, Lewis.BrightRaven at Facebook, LewisBrightRave2 on Twitter. If you want to see artwork of mine, you can go to deviantart.com/BrightRaven. We're watching Quoth the Raven, Lewis Bright Raven on YouTube. We have over something close to 300 videos on there, dating back to 2019, I think. Lots of videos, lots of reviews, lots of interviews. If you have questions about the show, questions about other books, or anything you might want to ask me about what's going on in the industry, Quoth the Raven LBR72@gmail.com is the address to try. And if I don't answer you on the show or email you back, try lewisbrightraven@yahoo.com. Mondays, we normally do our comics news and reviews. I will do that next week, where I will review, again, Heavy Metal 308 and Attaboy, and probably something else, one or two other graphic novels I haven't gotten around to reading yet. Wednesdays is normally when we do What Did You Get This Week? I didn't do that this week because of my father's health, and I got that done now. Thursday nights is usually our roundtable talk, where I have a guest, and we have a topical discussion where we talk about people's crowdfunding campaigns. And Fridays at 9 p.m. is usually our genre night, each week with a different genre, sometimes with guest hosts joining me, sometimes not. Again, this week we're going to be talking about Star Trek Picard Season 1. Saturdays, we usually do live draw, but again, this week I will be at the Free Comic Book Day appearance at Scratch and Spin. So if you liked this video, or you think others might, please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons to continue to get content from this channel. As always, I thank you once again for your support and for watching the channel. Thank you, Pop Culture Avenger. And I haven't had a chance to pack your order, but I will hopefully get that out Saturday at the latest. When I go out to the comic thing, I'll probably go to the post office because it's right by the comic shop. So I'll just pack it up and drop it off when I get headed over there. So I'll see you guys next time, which is 9:00 p.m. this evening, to talk with Ben Perkins about his series, Heavy. Have a good one. See you next time. this evening.